Hello, I'm Colley and I'm happy to present our work, Effects of Pedestrian Behavior, Time Pressure and Repeated Exposure on Crossing Decisions in front of automated vehicles equipped with external communication. In today's traffic, pedestrians rely on implicit and explicit cues when forming a crossing decision. Implicit cues include vehicle speed and deceleration profiles. Explicit cues are, for example, nodding, gesturing, or honking. With the advance of automated vehicles, current research evaluates when and how these vehicles have to communicate with vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians or bicyclists. Previous work has investigated numerous aspects of this external communication with different foci. This figure of the Mercedes-Benz F015 concept car shows, for example, a projected zebra crossing. In this work, a projected symbol was used to alert bicyclists. Researchers also proposed several other concepts, such as this timeline named concept by Day et al. Here, light segments on the hood of the vehicle indicate the driving mode, as well as the intention to stop or to resume driving. This concept was not yet tested empirically. While the shown concepts, and many others including text-based, auditory, or LED strip-based, showed promise for enabling smoother interactions in future traffic, there still are discussions when and how frequently such communication is and will be necessary. Additionally, the concepts were often evaluated in simple one-on-one scenarios without properly including other relevant crossing factors. Based on these thoughts, we derived 3 research questions targeting the mentioned aspects. While numerous factors influence one's crossing decision, we first focused on the variable of pedestrian group behavior and how this factor interacts with an external human-machine interface. With the second research question, we wanted to explore the impact of a timer-based communication concept as proposed by Day et al. With the third research question, we explored the effect of prior experience on the communication process. To answer the 3 research questions, we designed and implemented 3 scenarios. Participants encountered these after each other. Within the scenarios, the occurrence was counterbalanced. We invited 18 participants in the age range from 21 to 56 years. We measured both subjective and objective dependent variables, including mental workload, trust, perceived safety, communication quality, as well as collisions and the timings on different parts of the street. The external communication concept is based on an LED strip attached to the lower front of the automated vehicle. The entire LED strip blinks turquoise when the automated vehicle communicates that the pedestrian can cross. The concept for communicating that the automated vehicle will drive through uses the color yellow and employs the animation starting in the center and moving to the edges. The red warning message is used to convey that the pedestrian just employed dangerous behavior, for example, when stepping in front of an automated vehicle that signalizes it will not stop. The timer is based on the work by Day et al. And only includes the message that the vehicle will start its journey soon. The first scenario was designed to study the effect of the behavior of another group crossing despite a dangerous situation. There is mixed traffic as it is likely that the introduction of automated vehicles will be a continuous process. The pedestrian stands at the curb, wanting to cross the street, here shown in orange. If in a condition with an EHMI, this first automated vehicle indicates that it will not yield, therefore enabling us to study the effect of the group behavior, which ignore the automated vehicle's intention not to yield. Here you can see the actual implementation. Due to time constraints, I will only briefly summarize the most relevant findings. With an EHMI, trust, understanding, hedonic and pragmatic quality was significantly higher, while mental workload was significantly lower. With a pedestrian group, friendliness and naturalness of the communication was significantly higher, while politeness was significantly lower. We found no significant effects on collisions, of which 6 occurred. Participants did spend significantly more time on the sidewalk when no pedestrians were present. The total duration was significantly higher without an EHMI and without pedestrians. With this data, we were able to show that our simulation induced similar behavior as observed in the real world. However, we could not clearly derive whether the factors correlate or interfere. In this scenario, the question is whether temporal information, i.e. how long will the vehicle stand still, is useful. This information could help pedestrians assess whether it is safe to cross and provoke them to cross the street quickly. The participant sees another pedestrian crossing in front of a halted automated vehicle. The participant was placed a little further back to ensure the necessity to walk quickly to actually cross the street in front of the automated vehicle, thus provoking potentially dangerous behavior. Here you can see the waiting pedestrian cross the road. You can also see the timer. We found that with a timer, hedonic and pragmatic quality were rated significantly higher. Mental workload and politeness were rated significantly lower. One collision occurred in a condition without a timer. We found no significant difference neither for the collisions nor the timings of participants on the streets. We used this scenario to assess the possibility of pedestrians feeling the need to quickly cross the street in front of an automated vehicle before it starts to accelerate. Our data do not suggest that the timer affected the decision to cross nor the actual crossing behavior, for example, the speed. Previous work on overtrust indicated over-reliance on EHMIs. However, the timer seemed not to have any negative effects. In the chicken game approach, there are two actors with different cost and benefit functions. In the case of an automated vehicle, stepping in front of it was postulated to have no cost, as the automated vehicle must stop. Therefore, it could be assumed that pedestrians will always cross in front of automated vehicles. Therefore, we let participants cross 3 times in front of an endless line of automated vehicles, all communicating not to stop. Here you see the actual implementation. Between the 3 repetitions, we found that mental workload significantly decreased, and trust and perceived safety significantly increased in later repetitions. We found no significant differences for understanding, as well as for hedonic or pragmatic quality. An automated vehicle had to perform an emergency brake in every single one of the 54 trials. 4 collisions occurred, however we found no significant effects on collisions. In later repetitions, participants spent significantly less time on the sidewalk. Therefore, our data support the existence of a habituation effect. While 11 participants stated that they would wait in a realistic scenario, 5 participants claimed they would cross the street in front of an automated vehicle in such a scenario. Therefore, we argue that our experiments showed that already after 3 exposures to automated vehicles, pedestrians' behavior is significantly altered. Therefore, appropriate measures, such as how these vehicles are introduced to the general public, have to be considered. Future work should evaluate when these effects occur and how they could be reduced or even avoided. Thank you for your attention. I am happy to take questions in any form.